Hi, I'm Alistair, the Grumpy CIO. And what am I grumpy about this week? Rule breakers. Well, rule breakers can be a good thing sometimes, right? But also sometimes a bad thing. So, at the moment I'm working in a smaller company, but I've worked in tier one banks, from smaller organizations, all the way up and down the scale. And everywhere you go, it's like you get this phrase, we got to do things differently because we're a startup or we're a leading tier one bank. Now, there are reasons why you do have to do things and can do things a little bit differently. So if you're a leading tier one bank, you do have different quality thresholds than you do if you're a startup. You have millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of customers, and you have to think about a lot of edge cases. You have to go down through various different levels of use cases that you might have to deal with for various scenarios. Whereas if you're a startup, and in particular you're just getting your first couple of customers, you can actually just deal with a lot of things as manual process workarounds and get there. So there are different thresholds you get to. But you still have to think about what you're doing. You can't have this phrase, because we're a startup, we'll, or because we're a tier one bank, something special will happen. Rules are there to be broken, yes, and you can think about what you can do around quality thresholds, on timing thresholds. There's that famous phrase which drives me nuts. Be embarrassed about your first product. Yeah, be embarrassed about it, but it's got to vaguely get there. And for most technical delivery, 90% of the work is required before you can see anything. So you're only talking about the last 10% where you can sort of get something out to market. There's still a lot of foundational work to be done. Because if you don't follow basic rules, you end up here. And that's where you are. And every organization I've been at has exactly the same thing. So you have to work your way through and just make sure you keep up to date with where you are a little bit. You have to make sure that you're following the correct QA process, the correct level of build quality for your organization, for the situation you're in, for the customers that you're looking at, their tolerances and how it's working through. And there are variances. But because we're a startup, we won't QA anything. So we can't afford time to QA. Well, you can't afford to build it then. Because we're a startup, we've got to just work around these data regulations. No, you have to follow them. At ShipShape, we go through all our terms and conditions. We work through the data regulations. We have to do so. Things you can't get around. So just be boring, because it's the most exciting way to be. Work your way through the things you can ignore, then trudge your way through the things that you have to do. Get there, execute. Bugger me, it's so exciting. So there you go. That's it for the week. Don't break the rules until you need to break the rules, and only break some rules and know which rules you're breaking and why you're breaking them. Thanks for watching. I'm Alistair, the Grumpy CIO of shipshape.vc. Come and find us to find the money you need. We are the investor search engine. Thank you.